Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 73 of the Impact Studio. As always, I'm Zach, and I'm super excited to have you all join me here tonight. My guest is another special one. Her name is Olivia Clark, and she is the founder of the spectacular organization / community Humor Beats Cancer. This is an unbelievable community, as Olivia is someone who is a survivor herself. So by her building this community and using humor as a way to get people that are going through this similar trauma, through this trauma, it's incredible. As someone who uses humor myself to get through a lot less stickier situations than going through cancer, I'm someone who I just can't wait to talk to her, because someone who's gone through what she's gone through, I'm really interested to learn how she has this outlook on life. I see her. She is here now. Inviting her to the split screen. Hey, how are you, Olivia?
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. I appreciate you taking the time to have this conversation. You are someone that I've really wanted to talk to for quite some time. I've been honing my craft and trying to do this for a little bit before I wanted to reach out, but I am really excited that we got the opportunity to do this.
No, thanks for having me. You can hear me, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited. I just love the mission of what you guys are doing about just putting good news out into the world. And that's what we're about too. We're about while cancer is super serious, and in no way we want to diminish that. At the same time, there's a lot of funny, dark humor things that happen when you're going through cancer. And it's kind of our way to kind of spread joy and humor and celebrate that we're alive versus just kind of avoiding dying. And so, yeah, so it's definitely been fun. People really share some funny stories and really kind of connect over those stories. And it's developed this really awesome community that I'm so lucky to be a part of. So yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's really awesome. But before we get into, some of the really good and fun stuff, tell me about your story. Tell me about the origin story and why Humor Beats Cancer was created.
Yeah, sure. So I am a cancer survivor myself. In 2015, I had breast cancer. Yeah. And I found it myself when I was doing my own self-check. So that's something I recommend for everybody. And I have a background as a journalist and an editor. I'm in PR now. But I love to write. And so I really looked for ways that I could share my story through writing. And so then I had this kind of hypothesis, because as I was going through cancer, I kept seeing all these kind of funny things that I wanted to share with other people. But a lot of times people who don't go through cancer or any sort of, big thing like that, they don't understand that humor. And they're like, why are you laughing at this? You should be serious at all times. And so I wondered if other people who've gone through cancer, particularly those in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, were seeing that. And it turned out that they were, and they wanted to share this stuff too. And I was finding that a lot of sites and a lot of organizations kind of gear themselves to treatment and to kind of more serious sides of cancer. And those are definitely needed organizations and causes. But there weren't a lot of organizations that really focused on today's patient, survivor, and caregiver. And also there weren't many sites that really kind of focused on a positive side of it, there's so many people who live with cancer day in and day out, who will be on treatment for the rest of their lives. And there isn't a lot of conversations about that. There also aren't a lot of conversations about what happens after you're done getting through cancer treatment. How does that make you feel? How do you deal with that? And so we try to be there for people at all stages. And we've heard so much good feedback. And for me personally, it's made me feel less alone about my cancer journey. I'm just a woman here in Chicago who had an idea, and it's been cool. We have people all over the world who share stories. We send care packages with kind of funny stuff in them to people. And then and we have a grant program where we help young adults with medical bills. And so, yeah, it's been great. And these funny stories just kind of end up creating a conversation around a more serious topic and stuff. So yeah, but it's been amazing. I know that I've even had friends who have, it's encouraged them to check themselves, and it's really been something that's kind of spread in some ways in terms of just the having more of an awareness that there are people, younger people too, who are dealing with cancer and living with cancer. So yeah, I when I was going through cancer, I had it all. I had chemo, radiation, a mastectomy, many reconstructions. I did IVF at the beginning, pretty much everything. And it was really just, it was an interesting journey. And it really does. And I worked full time while going through all that. And it's been neat to talk to people who've also done that too, that you have to figure out a way. I've worn the wig at work time. I've gone bald and with scarves on weekends, all that stuff. And so it's just nice to share the funny stories that come out of situations like that.
Well, I'm very happy that you're a survivor, and I love you. And the community that you built is incredible. And I'm someone that my natural personality is I like to joke around and I like to have fun. But as someone who doesn't have cancer, I would never, ever, ever think about making a joke or saying something in jest, because of how serious that I do take it. How does I obviously, looking into your community you've built and the stories that you just told, your community is one of fun-loving, and you want to tell jokes. You don't want people to feel bad for you. How can those that have never gone through cancer get comfortable and become part of the community that you're building? So it's not just people that have gone through the trauma, it's everybody.
Yeah, I think if anybody happens to know someone who is going through cancer, I think the best thing is to not be scared of them and not be scared of the conversations. Really come to them and find out what they need in terms of, sometimes you just need someone who's going to treat you like you're normal and not talk about it. And sometimes you need someone who's not afraid to hear when you're having a bad day or you're not feeling good. And if the cancer patient or the survivor does crack a joke, it's okay to laugh with them. It's okay to go along with that. It's really kind of taking the lead from the cancer patient and seeing what they need and what they want. But I really think, with everything that's been going on in the world today, with the pandemic and everything, I think there's so many opportunities to utilize humor as a coping tool, so that it's not something that can just be for cancer patients. I think it's something that we can all look at in our lives and see like we're having a bad day, but there may be something funny that comes from it that you're like, oh God, that was crazy. I know that guy was really weird and stuff like that. And so, and even just that small moment when you can kind of have a perspective that maybe that there's a way to keep going and to keep pushing forward. I think that's kind of what our mission's about. It's about kind of pushing forward and looking and finding those little bright spots during what can be a really dark and tough time. And so, while we are for cancer, people who've had cancer in their lives in some way, we also can be there for anybody who's going through some sort of trauma or something's very tough. I too am someone who likes to joke about things sometimes inappropriately. I've definitely had times when it's been a serious situation and I've made a joke and somebody's with me is like, this isn't the time to be funny right now, and so you have to reel it back in. And I do think that it can definitely be something where it can spread. I just really believe it. I believe that there are times when life will kick us in the ass. And I always say that even when you have cancer, life still kicks you in the ass. I remember I just assumed that when you had cancer, everything else was going to go great in your life. And that's totally not true. Life still happens. And you still trip down the stairs when you're trying to do something. You still, your dog pees in the house, things that you're like, oh my God, why does this stuff happen to me? And so we try to be we try to look at those things and put a spotlight on them. We also try to not be afraid to use things like profanity. And we feel because we often feel like a lot of the cancer organizations are very sanitized and very meant for your great aunt who's sitting there, talking about cancer and the disease. And we don't diminish the disease, but we also like to, be ourselves. And how would you you'd say the F word if you stubbed your toe or you fell down the stairs, and it's that. So we try to be that for everybody and let them come to our organization any way they want. But I do believe that this could be something that can spread beyond cancer patients for sure.
Yeah, that's that's such an interesting thought, and it's something that I definitely thought, coming into this conversation, cancer, obviously not to say it's a vehicle for anything, but it led you to this creation of Humor Beats. And I too believe that, humor beats cancer, but humor beats so many other things. And like you're touching on, it's a lifestyle. And I also am someone that swings and misses with my jokes a lot. I'll make jokes in the wrong situations that it's like, yikes, why did I say that?
Yeah.
Afterwards, I'll be thinking to myself, like, I can't believe I did that. But, the fact that I'm willing to take those chances, I'd rather that, because it's better than, not trying to, make a joke or be relaxed or try and have a good time in spite of terrible things that you're going through. Because, at the end of the day, there's communities of people, such as the cancer community is one, where you were dealt a shitty hand. And I wish more than anything that, everyone in that community, I can just snap my fingers, it can go away, but I can't do that. So, let's just have some fun, right? And that's what you guys are doing. And that's why I was so excited to meet you and reach out to you, because I think that yours is a community that, like you touched on, is only going to grow.
Yeah. I mean, I just really, like you said, I mean, there's always some swing and misses. I mean, occasionally we'll get someone who will be like, this just isn't funny. Or sometimes I'll reach out to someone and ask them to write a blog piece, and they're like, I'm just not feeling funny right now.
Yeah.
And that's totally cool. I mean, like, everybody comes to this in their own way. But I do believe that there are times when we can come together around humor and around how, as you said, how shitty life can be sometimes. Yeah. And we can figure out a way that, like, how do you move forward from something? I mean, like, as a cancer patient or a survivor, there's not much you can do but move forward. You have to keep, you have to keep going to treatment. You have to keep dealing with, whatever happens, and sometimes it's really sucky. I mean, just as you're thinking, oh, cancer's in the rear view mirror, it's back. And so we really try to be there. And I think I said at the start, it's about celebrating being alive. And I think everybody can do that in any form. I think we can look and see, we have this or that in our life, and that's good. And if you find that you don't have that, there are communities like us where you can come and you feel less alone. You feel like people get what you're going through, and that's what we're about. So yeah, I've been really impressed by just the people who've shared the stuff they've shared. It's been awesome. It's been simply awesome.
What's the breakdown of survivors versus non-survivors of your organization?
I really can't say. I will say that I will say most of the people who join us have had cancer at some point. But I also have found we do this holiday care package where I send a care package for each day of the month of December. And we did get some caregivers. We did get some cancer patients reached out and said, I want to nominate this person because she made me feel less alone, or I want to nominate my mom who went to every appointment with me. And so we're seeing that there are more caregivers out there who are getting recognition and becoming part of the community, because that's a tough road, because they have to be strong at all times to support their loved ones. And they're not experiencing it, but they are in like a different way. And there's nothing they can do, it's in the hands of, doctors and medicine. And so I would say that we do have a growing number of caregivers who are learning about us and going there. And it also kind of, I think, helps teach them, like, oh, so this is what my family member is going through, and they learn different things. And so, but I would say majority are people who've dealt with cancer personally in their own lives, and as a patient or a survivor.
That's super cool. And I'm happy that your numbers of caregivers is growing, because one of my hypotheses and what I'm trying to do with the Impact Studio is, the next time that we talk, I want, you to be like, oh, it's only 50%. And then the time after that, I want you to say, oh, it's only 25%. Because I think we can get to a place that no matter what cause your organization or community is behind, it doesn't matter if you're suffering through that trauma, to be part of a community that's trying to help that cause. And I think that especially the cancer community, it's one that everyone loves. And it's one that almost everyone, if you haven't been through it personally, someone in your close family that's been through it. And everyone knows it's it's the worst, and there's no other way to put it. I can use every profanity that I know to describe it, but there's nothing good that comes from it. And it's such a community that the way you're going about it with humor and, like you're saying, you know, not being for your great aunt is one that I think is very important, because when you're trying to get people to become part of your community that haven't been through it, you have to interest them. And that's just the fact of the matter. So to see how you're attacking it is really cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think one goal when I started it was that I really wanted to look at people who are in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, because I felt like there was some unique experiences that they were facing, you know, whether it was dating while going through cancer, starting their first jobs, or switching careers, or thinking about having children. And I don't think that those groups of people are accurately portrayed in, say, movies and books. I think a lot of times it's looked at a lot differently. It's always, you know, at the end of the movie, they always die, or at the end of the movie, they never make it, or at the end of the movie, they're sick and throwing up in, you know, in a toilet and stuff. I mean, we joke kind of, one common dark humor joke is that we all assumed that when we would have chemo, we would lose weight and finally get down to like our goal weight. When really, if the truth of the matter is, you take all these like drugs that make you kind of swell up a little bit and gain weight. And so that's like a common joke amongst our community, is that, and so there's just things like that that have been inaccurately portrayed for so long that even we believed it. And then when we go through it, we're like, oh my God, it's nothing like this. And so, like, you know, we didn't think about, you know, when you think about losing your hair, you think about on your head, but you don't think about like your eyebrows and your eyelashes and everywhere else, like no arm hair and everything. And so it's like little things like that that we try to like put a spotlight on through humor. And also I think it just helps people understand like what people go through at the same time when they're dealing with it, but in like a kind of a humorous way. So yeah, it's also about like awareness too, but just we take a different approach to it.
That's so important. And I think that's interesting, because it'd be so cool if, you know, movies portrayed people going through cancer, like you said, you know, make a comedy about it, you know, where someone's gaining weight or something like that. It doesn't have to be the ending where someone dies. And I also think it's interesting because in real life, you know, when you think of cancer survivor, you think of strength, you think of someone that beats the odds. But, you know, like you said, in the movies, it's weird that, you know, they would kind of go the other route, because is that something that does the stigmas against the cancer community something that, you know, you guys discuss when you're having these, you know, gatherings and meetings and swapping stories? Is it something that bothers, you know, you guys?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things that I think of immediately that were that I learned when I started this. You often hear the term like cancer fighter, and if you flip that on its side, you know, if you don't overcome cancer, does that mean that you're not a fighter? And that's obviously not true. Everybody goes in trying to get cured, or, you know, get to deal with the disease as, you know, as much as they can. But sometimes it isn't enough. Yeah. And so we try not to use that now. And I didn't realize that, but, you know, calling someone a cancer fighter can have like a mixed feeling. And the other thing is that there are so many different types of cancer, but there are certain cancers that get so much more publicity in the world. And, you know, I did have breast cancer, and that is a disease that gets much more attention. And, you know, and you know, that's great, because that means more money goes to, you know, finding a cure and all this stuff. But there are so many other cancers out there that often feel like nobody thinks about and talks about. And so we try to really be careful that we stay away from from celebrating the months, you know, where this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this is because there are so many months for each cancer. And so we try to really just kind of focus more on overall cancer awareness versus like really getting into, you know, talking about one type of cancer over another. And so those are like two things that we try to build awareness around, and that I didn't think about until I started the organization.
That's unbelievable. And the community that you guys are able to see that you're someone that went through a specific type of cancer, and you would think that that's the one that you would want to focus on, but to be able to take a step back and realize that, you know, you went through something that there is a lot of funding for, and obviously we want to raise billions and billions and more dollars for that, but, you know, breast cancer is one that people know about. So to be able to raise for other types of cancers is really admirable, and something that I don't know if I would be able to do that if I was a survivor. So I give you a lot of kudos for that.
Thank you.
It's just super awesome. But before I let you go, how can we help? I'm definitely going to be sharing anything that you guys post.
Thank you.
We want to make sure that, like I've said this whole time, your organization is one that, you know, humor and cancer. I mean, humor is something that people love, and cancer is something that everyone supports and wants to get behind, you know, helping and eradicating. So I think you're an organization that once people see the community that you've built, they want to be a part of. So what's next? What is next for you guys?
Yeah.
I know that 2020 was difficult and 2021 has started off difficult, but what can everyone that's going to end up watching this do to help you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of different ways. You know, first, the easy way is, as you said, to follow us we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we're on Twitter. You know, follow us, read our blog posts, share them.
The blog posts are great, by the way.
Thank you.
Genuinely, I'm not just saying this. I read some of them and they're really good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, they're great, and they're written by people. I try to have a different writer. I try to do like two or three a month, and so so do that. Obviously, we always will take donations. We are a nonprofit, a 501c3 nonprofit. The organization is made up of my board and me, and we all are volunteers. So all money we raise goes right back into the organization. And so that money is used for care packages that we send. I send them all year, and they're to help kind of brighten cancer patients' days during a tough time. So that money helps for that. We also, that also goes towards our grant program. We give 2 $1,000 grants every year. Our first year was last year, so we're doing it again this year. So doing that, and then just spreading the word about us. We have fun swag. We have fun. We have all kinds of stuff that you can wear, and just, you know, kind of getting the word out there that, you know, that don't give up on us if we have cancer, that we are still people, and we're still alive, and we're still living, and that we're you know, don't give up on us. And so I guess, you know, just following us, donating, spreading the word about us. I think all three of those things would be very helpful for us. I also have, I do virtual open mics, so you can check out people who read their blogs aloud on a Zoom call. Yeah, and then answer some questions. So that's pretty cool. We do writing workshops. There's just so much that we're trying to do to really kind of bring the idea of, you know, communication and writing and funny stories together with cancer. So yeah. One more way. If anybody has like their own Etsy store set up and wants to donate any of their crafts and their wares to any of our care packages, let me know. We had so many great donations for our holiday care packages. And so if anybody does anything that they wouldn't mind, you know, donating a few things, we'll throw them in there with a little note of who it came from, and people love it. So yeah, those are the ways.
That's incredible. And I know once people watch this, they're definitely going to try and help as much as possible. And like I said, I'm going to share as much as I can of the stuff that you guys are promoting, because your organization is incredible. But if I happen to miss anything, please, you know how to reach me now. And we would love to share it. But like I said a few minutes ago, this is not the last time we will talk. Good. I'm definitely going to reach out again soon, because, you know, I've said so many times, I can't get over the community that you've built. It's a community of people that are so strong, but yet have an outlook on life that is so much more positive than a lot of other people that have been through a lot less. So those that may follow your community to think that they're there to help people that have been through the trauma of cancer might end up coming to your community and getting some help themselves, because you built something with unbelievable people. And I love you, and I can't wait to talk to you again.
No, thank you so much. And thank you for having me on and being able to talk. This is like near and dear to my heart. It's my passion. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great night. We will talk again very soon. Stay safe.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.